Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. The Thunder find a way. Shai Alexander puts on a big performance along with the others, and they find their hearts, win game 4, 111-104, and they tie the series at 2. We're going to talk all about the game here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't want to see any more of your time. Let's get right to it. So the Thunder come back after being outplayed for a majority of this game. They have a great fourth quarter, make some big plays, and win this game and tie the finals at 2 games apiece. Obviously, coming in this game, you knew that this was kind of like, Daniel want to say the season on the line for OKC. When you go down, if you go down 3-1, only one team has ever done that. You know, in the NBA Finals to come back from down 3-1, which was historic. But I mean, OKC had to come out with some heart in this game. And early on, it felt like the Pacers were doing similar things that they did in game 3 tonight in game 4. I love the way Pascal came out to start this game. I think Pascal was really good in terms of setting the tone. On offense, he was getting to the basket, hit a couple of threes. He had 4 steals in the first quarter or something like that. Like defensively, he was there, just making everything happen all around him. I think I like the way he started this game. You had him, Halliburton, not being super aggressive, but he was making good passes, and finding his others. At OKC, Shai hit a couple buckets to start this game, but it was a slow start for OKC offensively. And really, honestly, it was a slow game the entire way offensively for OKC. Indiana was still kind of like pushing them and just really outplaying. Like, I felt like Indiana came out with the first punch, which is not something I expected. I expect OKC to come out with the first punch when you're down 2-1 on the road. This is a huge game 4 after you just got outplayed in game 3. I expect OKC to come out and hit first, kind of like what they did in game 2. But Indiana came out and hit first in game 4, and I was like, wow. Like, Indiana just keeps this going. Then we get to the second quarter. Indiana starts off really good still. Obi Toppin's making good plays. And then OKC starts to turn up the intensity. I feel like turning up the intensity defensively. I think the big key, Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso for this entire game was amazing. Like, honestly, I think he deserved. Obviously, Shai made some good plays. Jada had a good game. Chet had some big defensive stops and had a good fourth quarter. But I honestly think the game ball, I think, should go to Alex Caruso. Because I honestly believe if Alex Caruso doesn't have the game he has today, OKC does not win this game. Doesn't have a chance in the fourth quarter to set up the stars to be able to come out and win. Like Alex Caruso, what he did, the energy he brought on both ends was huge. He forced some turnovers, 5 steals in this game, forced turnovers on the defensive end, got to the free throw line, and that's how OKC was able to keep it going. They had a horrible offensive first half in terms of shooting the ball. Like Shai had some shots here and there, but started to fall. Chet and Jado weren't really getting shots. The bench couldn't really provide a whole lot either, but getting to the free throw line, be able to get turnovers, get to the free throw line, attack the basket, and Indiana just could not stop fouling. And OKC was able to get to the free throw line and capitalize on most of their opportunities right there. And that's how they were able to keep this game close. And I feel like the defensive intensity turned up. Indiana had a little bit of a turnover problem midway through the second quarter where they started turning the ball over and, double teams, all that stuff. And they started to miss the shots a little bit. And then Tyrese Halliburton had a really good end to the second quarter. And they're going to halftime with a 3-point lead. We get to the third. And Indiana, once again, those big punch in the third. They take a 10-point lead at one point in this game. Obi Toppin in that third quarter was incredible. I mean, he had 2 big threes when OKC was making a little run to cut into the lead. Obi Toppin had 2 huge threes, some great defensive plays, offensive rebounds. Like, he was awesome in this game. He was a negative 15 in his plus minus, but plus minus is not a stat. It's a weird stat sometimes. But Obi Toppin was incredible in this game. I felt like he was kind of what I said talking about Alex Caruso. While Obi Toppin having the third quarter, Indiana doesn't get out to such a big lead. I like what he did. Halliburton got a little more aggressive as the time went on. You know what I mean? The Pacers defense was still being like really, really good. Like the way they were just forcing OKC to just kind of think twice and kind of had OKC like, this is the first time I've seen OKC in a long time be like on their heels for an entire game. Like OKC, it felt like OKC was like on their heels, kind of back against the wall, getting pushed. Like that's the first time in a long time I've seen OKC look that kind of rattled and that kind of, back against the wall, get it pushed out of the way. Like Indiana was doing an amazing job at that. Adrian Nembhard got to give him a lot of credit for his defense on Shea, and just his his ability to be able to just kind of be a thorn on his side. Just keep trying to bump him, bump him legally as much as you could, make him tired. There's a lot of times where OKC just looked tired and looked just like worn out. Whether it's Shea, mainly Shea and Chet, but those two, there's a lot of times they just weren't running back fully in transition. Kind of like look really tired, look beat up. Like those two were getting like Shea was getting worn out from that, and Chet, I don't know what was going on. I think it was just maybe him bruising and battling in the paint all night. But those two just looked super tired for the first 2 quarters of this game, where they were just kind of like not really fully there. There's still a tiny bit of like a lack of urgency that which I said about in game 3 of OKC, where there's a lack of just intensity at certain points. I was like, dang, like, do y'all actually really want to win this game? Like you'll know you're down 10 in the third quarter, right? I think they were down 10 with like 2 minutes left to go in the third quarter. And it's like, this is a finals game, right? This isn't like a January regular game, whatever. Like this is like if you lose this game, you're down 3-1 in the finals. And only one out of what 50, 70 something teams have ever done that before. So unless you think you're gonna go on some crazy run and make history, like you guys gotta come out. And I made a tweet about it. I said OKC's big three has to come out and dominate this fourth quarter. Chet, J-Dub, and Shea, all three of those guys have to come out and have some moments in this fourth quarter and really make a presence felt. That's the only way OKC's gonna be able to win this game. Get to the fourth quarter, and once again, Alex Caruso making big plays. He had that one play where he was on the other side, went all the way over and got the steal. He got to the free throw line more. Made some good shots. Chet Holmgren, what he was doing in the offensive rebounding category. He had 2 possessions where he got offensive rebound and a putback dunk. And what he did defensively was really, really big. J-Dub, I like what he did in terms of he didn't have a great shooting night, but his ability to get to the free throw line. He went 11 for 11 for the free throw line. His ability to just be able to keep, once he realized the shot on the ball, he was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep going to the basket, and they're going to call a foul every single time because they can't guard me, I guess. I'm just going to get to the free throw line, get to the free throw line. Lou Dort also made a really good defensive play late in this game as well. And I think he hit a 3. Did he hit a 3 in this fourth quarter? I think he hit a 3 in the second half. I don't remember if it was the fourth quarter or not, but he did hit a 3-pointer as well, which was very hard to come by for OKC. But every time I felt like Halliburton had some big runs and made it a close game. Andrew Nembhard had a shot in the fourth quarter that was huge, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was not having an amazing night. He had a couple shots, was decent, but wasn't having a big game that we expected him to. Then he comes out in the fourth quarter. At one point, says, "All right, I got us," and did what MVPs do. He had some huge runs. The last 5-6 minutes of the fourth quarter was owned by him. Whether it was getting to the free throw line, whether it was getting a bucket on Nesmith, which that was an interesting thing that they kind of made a switch at one point where Nesmith had a lot of opportunities guarding Shai. I felt like every time Nesmith guarded Shai, it was either a layup or a foul, or it was either like a score or a foul, which eventually led to Nesmith fouling out of this game. He had a 3-pointer as well. That was big. And he just really did what MVPs do. This was I don't want to say legacy defining, but this was a huge game in the career of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Where like if he doesn't come out and perform in this game, you go down 3-1, a lot of people are going to talk. And he delivered when it mattered most. He didn't have he had 35, but he didn't have a crazy 40-something point explosion. He had 0 assists for the first time, I think, this entire playoffs. He had no assist. But the last 5 minutes, he said, all right, team, I got us. And he got them. And then also got to give credit to Chet Holmgren. He made 2 huge defensive stops on Tyrese Halliburton. One that forced an air ball from 3 on a step back, and another one where he forced him to have to kick out to Miles Turner, who Miles Turner was not really hitting all night. He made like his first shot or 2, and then he went 0 for 6 from 3. 2 weak defensive stops, and Indiana just did not look great in the fourth quarter at all, and especially the last final minutes. It turned into a lot of iso ball. It turned into a lot of like, all right, Tyrese, go do your magic. And while it's like, yeah, I understand that sometimes, it was just, I don't know, it just the things that made the Pacers so great, the ball movement, the transition, the pace, all that stuff, just kind of went to a halt really quick. And a lot of that is credit to OKC's defense. Again, Chet Holmgren making those 2 defensive stops, and they got like Lou Dort and Crew got a couple of steals at the end, and OKC started making shots, so Indiana couldn't run as much as they wanted to. But also a lot of that felt like Indiana just kind of got super. I don't know what happened. It just Indiana just lost a step of like intensity what they really were, what got them that lead at one point in the third quarter. They just kind of stopped doing that. Like Pascal didn't really get a lot of touches in the fourth quarter. There's a lot of Tyrese. Obi Toppin didn't really play a lot in the fourth quarter, and he was probably their second best player in this entire game, which is very interesting. Indiana missed a lot of, you know, close shots like Neesmith and Nembhard. I think both missed a big 3-pointer. Turner missed that big 3-pointer on the Halliburton kick out. Neesmith fouls out, they gave Shai like 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. Just bad fouls. I mean, J-Dub and Shai combined for 21 for 21 from the free throw line. So you just can't do that. And then Ben Mathurin also had a really bad last 2 minutes. 3 missed free throws and 2 away from the play fouls, one that resulted in a free throw. So, yeah, Indiana somehow they were in control of this game for probably about 40 minutes, give or take. And you end up losing this game. Look at some of the stat lines. Points in the paint. OKC, 50 points in the paint. Indiana, 36. OKC, they had a horrible shooting night from 3, so they just decided, we're just going to get to the free throw, get to the paint. Whether it's going to be a layup or a free throw, we're going to get something out of here. Fast break points and points off turnovers are very close. OKC lost the fast break point battle, but won the points off turnover battle. So that kind of balanced each other out. The bench points is only a 9-point differential. Only a 9-point differential. 36 to 27 Indiana favor still, but not a huge differential in this game. Looking at the stats, somehow OKC shot better than Indiana. I guess that's the points in the paint. 47 to 42. OKC 3 for 17. OKC made 3 threes in this game. 3. Dort, Shai, and Caruso all hit a 3. While for Indiana, they had 4 players that hit 2. They made 11. But the free throws, OKC only took 5 more free throws than Indiana, but they only missed 4 free throws as a team. 34 points in the free throw line. Indiana 25 points in the free throw line. Indiana missing 8 free throws. Just can't do that. OKC wins the rebounding battle. I think that's been happening this entire series. The team that wins the rebounding battle wins the game. And OKC wasn't winning the rebounding battle for the first 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, they stepped up. Holmgren and Hartenstein combined for 7 offensive rebounds. Caruso and Kenny Hustle both had 2 offensive rebounds. J-Dub had an offensive rebound, 50 rebounds for OKC. And the turnover battle, OKC wins the turnover battle, 15 to 13. Shai gives you 35, shoots 50% from the field, gets to the free throw line a lot, and again has that big fourth quarter. J-Dub gives you 27 and 7, 11 for 11 for the free throw line. Chet only took 9 shots, was 14 points, but 15 rebounds. And some huge defensive and rebounding plays. And then Caruso, 20 points, 5 steals off the bench. Again, without him, I don't think OKC is even close to winning this game. Because Caruso really did his thing out there. For Indiana, tough one. I mean, Pascal gives you 20, 8, 5, and 5. Wish we'd got more opportunities in the fourth quarter. Tyrese did have a really bad game, but didn't have a great game either. He had 18, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, only hit 1 3, which was his first one. He took a logo 3, and he didn't have 3 things out of the game. Toppin gives you 17 and 7 off the bench. Miles Turner wasn't really a big factor in this game. And the foul trouble. I mean, they had 3 starters. Indiana did 3 starters with 4 plus fouls. Nembhard, 4 fouls. Neesmith fouled out. Turner, 5 fouls. It's tough to, it was similar to that last game, but the good thing is last game, TJ McConnell and Ben Mathurin were absolutely insane. Like, you couldn't really project that those two are going to have a same game in this one where Mathurin's going to give you 30 and McConnell's going to give you 10, 5, and 5. Like, you weren't really expecting that. And those two combined to be a negative 12 on the court and only played 17 and 13 minutes. Those two didn't have near the same impact in this game. So now you take that out, 3 starters having 4 plus fouls, just not going to work. Really not going to work. And yeah, I mean, it's going to sting. That's a stinger for Indiana. Really a stinger. I mean, you were about 5-6 minutes away from potentially going up 3-1 on OKC, and having a chance to take down this team that everyone kind of believed was going to wash you, and you were playing some great basketball and you were really doing it. I was looking, I was like, is Indiana's really going to go up 3? Like, Indiana's really going to win this game? Oh, wow. And you were just minutes away and just could not get it done due to a lot of different reasons. Again, not great fourth quarter execution, fouling too much, not great, maybe not the greatest coaching decisions at all in this game either, missing some shots. It just tough. And if OKC does find a way to win this series, and turns this around, those last few minutes, they're gonna look back on those last few minutes, this fourth quarter, and be like, that's where we won it right there. Because they were getting outplayed for 40 minutes. They were getting outplayed. Straight up. Outplayed. Not having a great game. Indiana was doing not whatever they wanted, but Indiana was looking really good. down 10 points with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. In the third quarter, looking kind of down and out. Everybody was kind of like, dang, is this really like, is this team for real? You know what I mean? Like all that stuff, all the most adversity you could face as a team in this type of position where they were the heavy favorites ever since beating Denver in this game 7. Like they have been the heavy favorites to win this championship, and you have a crazy loss in game 1, a bad loss in game 3, and you're like 12 minutes away from going down 3-1, to a team that has all the confidence in the world on the road. And you find it in your heart to come out and be able to win this game. Find a way to win. It wasn't the prettiest game at all. It wasn't a pretty game. It wasn't a dominant game. It wasn't a game that was like the best game of the careers of something. Like it wasn't a historic game or anything like that. But in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how they come. You have to find a way to win. And OKC found a way to win. I mean, again, I mentioned again, this is going very similar to what the Denver series was. You lose a game 1, you're in controlling for 99% of it, and you somehow lose that game. You dominate game 2, and you're like, okay, here we go. You lose a game 3, that's like, dang, like you just got outplayed in game 3, and in game 4, down 2-1, you lost two close games. You lost, everything kind of like adversities starting to hit you, and you find a way to come out and win. That's what they did against Denver, and they won that series. And now they did it here today, and they're able to win that series. But they're going to need to be a whole lot better in game 5, though. This doesn't make up for everything. There's still things they could be way better at. One, again, I think the lack of sense of urgency, I think needs to pick up a little bit more. It's not often you're going to survive making only 3 threes in a playoff game. So they're going to have to knock down some threes, which I don't expect them to go 3 for 17 from 3 next game. I expect them to hit around 10, hopefully, you would think, right? But I think the aggressiveness of getting to the free throw line, I think the things I can say the same is the aggressiveness to the free throw line, the rebounding battle, and the turnover battle. Those are the 3 things I think that you have to kind of be like, yeah, we should be able to do that for the rest of this series. Be able to get to the free throw line, be able to win the rebounding battle, and to be able to win the turnover battle. Those are 3 things that we have done for a lot of this postseason run. Why can't we do it for at the most, maybe 3 more games? For OKC. You have to really be able to kind of win those little battles. That's how OKC really beats you. And for Indiana, a really tough one. At Stinger, obviously you're gonna look back on and be like, if Indiana ends up losing this series, those are the last few minutes they're gonna have to look back on that and be like, that's where we lost the series right there. We were 5 minutes away from going up 3-1 and having them on the ropes. Like we were right there and we just couldn't secure it. But Indiana's still been playing great basketball. You still have some things that you really like. You still like the aggressiveness, the intensity that you're playing with, especially on the defensive end. You like that. You like that you're getting some good bench performances. Like that you're getting guys that come off the bench and are able to, do some things. You like that we're able to win the rebounding battle for most of it, until the last few minutes. But being able to try to win the rebounding battle and get offensive rebounds and stuff should be huge. And really just got to cut down the fouling. Cut down the fouling is one thing. I think playing your game in the fourth quarter is another thing as well. Like, again, that last few minutes was just not Indiana Pacer-like basketball. And that's something you see from Indiana too often, where it's just ISO ball, ISO ball, ISO ball, ISO ball. But that's what they did. And it's like, why? Like staying with your game plan and doing what got you here. You're in the finals playing the way you play. Why change it up? So I think going back to that and just being more disciplined. There's a lot of turnovers that you could have avoided, a lot of fouls you could have avoided just by doing too much. So I think you have to do that. And a couple more threes won't hurt. I mean, you made more than them, but you only shot 30%. So yeah, while also giving up 9 extra free throws. So those threes maybe doesn't cancel that out, but it's a big thing. But yeah, another amazing game. This finals has been so great so far. Way 10 times better than expected, and I love it. And now we have a 2-2 series. Now it's a best of 3. And what's next? It sucks that we have to wait till Monday for game 5, but it's going to be a good one. And I cannot wait to see who throws the next swing and who lands the next punch. But yeah, it's going to be it today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you like the content around here, consider subscribing. liking, turn on notifications, doing all stuff like that. I really appreciate it a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.